Pretoria, Darul Uloom Pretoria, Darul Uloom Pretoria, Darul Uloom.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل يا أهل الكتاب لا تغلوا في دينكم غير الحق ولا تتبعوا أهواء قوم قد ضلوا من قبل وأضلوا كثيرا وضلوا عن سواء السبيل. صدق الله مولانا العلي العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الحبيب الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. The burning question is in regards the aspect, are Muslims allowed to celebrate, observe or participate in Valentine's Day or the Valentine celebrations and the rest of the issues that surround Valentine. In order for us to get a broader understanding of this, it is important for us to realize the background and the backdrop to Valentine. Valentine or Saint Valentine's Day, as it is known in some places as well, there are symbolic issues with it. For example, the cupids with bows and arrows, heart shapes, birds, flowers, red colors, cards, message cards, etc., etc. And today, of course, via social media, other social platforms, the aspect of Valentine promotion and propagation of this is indeed widespread. Some of these celebrations have other symbols that accompany it. For example, Santa Claus and the reindeer as far as Christmas is concerned, Easter celebrations with Easter eggs, hot cross buns, etc. And coming back to what symbolizes and what is symbolic to Valentine, we have mentioned this. First and foremost, if we go historically into this, then there are legends which hold certain beliefs. And when we speak of legends, we know that there isn't any real substantiation of this. And it is stated that in the 3rd century after Christ, Nabi Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, there were certain celebrations and certain rituals that were performed, and legend has it that there was a priest or a bishop by the name of Valentine who in reality opposed the Emperor Claudius II. Claudius II was of the view that bachelors, single men, needed to participate in battles, in war, and they needed to be out in the field. However, he was also of the opinion that if they were not single, they were not bachelors and they were married, then they would spend more of their time at home, and thus their missions, their conquering of land and places would be stagnated somewhat. As a result of this, an order was given that all single men need to go into the battlefield and they need to join the military and the army, and the conscription laws were then amended for that, and a general ban was then implicated. Priest Valentine or Bishop Valentine or Saint Valentine as he is known would secretly get the young men to marry. When they needed to get married, they would get them together and he would get them married, and off they would go and they would declare themselves as married, and they would be saved from going to the wars and to the battlefield. Subsequent to that, it was also another legend has it that Saint Valentine was of the opinion that in order to get them married would be more beneficial to them, and he would secretly marry them without the emperor knowing the full details regarding this. Subsequent to this, when the news was let out that he has engaged himself in such activities, he was arrested, and after his arrest, it was also rumored, and legend has it again once more, as legend has it, that he was amongst those that would actually go out and be of assistance to those. And because of his so-called character and the man of the cloth belonging to the clergy, the person in charge of the jail took a liking towards him, and they would eventually engage and they would have long discussions. Some of these discussions would ensue religious discussions. And again, another legend has it that the jailer and his wife and family actually accepted Christianity on the hands of this Roman priest, Valentine, and by then it was already ordered that he needs to be executed. The order for his execution was passed, and before that, the priest, Valentine, also was quite friendly with the daughter of the jailer, and it is stated that she was blind, and by some way, miraculous way, as the legend has it again, that she was cured and her eyesight was restored, and the parents were indeed overwhelmed by this fact, and they were sad to see his end come out in the execution. And thus the name Saint Valentine then became more appropriate. On the day that he was executed actually was the eve of a festivity, which is the Lupercalia festivity. And if we go into the aspects that relate to the Lupercalia festivity, it was a festivity, of celebrations of deity, etc. And because the issue in terms of their assimilation with religion and their coming closer with religion was a major issue. And somewhat we can relate with that in today's day and age, where people are also realizing that where there is no longer that much of patronage to the churches, to other places of worship, then we can find that these places of worship are often sold. They are sold, they are bought, they are then converted, they are probably used for other needs. Sometimes they are bought by other faith groups, sometimes they are purchased by Muslims as well, and their needs are then changed, and they can be, institutions which are then coming out of that. We have examples of that right here in South Africa. For example, if we look at the Sultan Bahu Center, it was a church, it was purchased, today is a fully fledged Islamic center standing there. And there are many examples like that throughout the world, that a church, a place of worship belonging to a faith group was then purchased and used by another faith group for other purposes, etc. Sometimes this has been bought and they've been used for commercial gain as well. From here we can understand the reasoning behind this and the understanding of this. It is also related to this, it is narrated in the annals that there was a situation which occurred particularly in regards this festivity. There was also the time, the Lupercalia festivity and others close by heralded for the people of the time that there was the need of celebration. And in terms of celebration, where the passing of the long winter months and the arrival of spring or the warmer days, it was a situation where people would gather and they would come together from all walks of life. And it was customary back then to, as the days became colder and the winter became more severe, to don upon themselves another item, another garment, another item of clothing. And so when the time came to shed this off, they would gather and they would go to the nearest rivers or the lakes, and they would then remove the layers of clothes that they put upon themselves during the harsh, cold winter months, and they would then go into a mode of celebration. And it was this time when they would go and they would have a bath, they would wash, they would clean themselves, and they would have the aspect of selection of spouses or friends, of the opposite sex. And this became a free-for-all where they would be allowed to go and they would do their selections, etc. However, be that as it may, and however it was molded and however it was churned out to be, that a function which was under no circumstances a Christianity function, but it was because of the episode of change of season from one season into another season, was now joined with something that had a religious connotation, and this is when they took on the aspect and they linked it with this. Today, as we can see, the calendar has many such issues. If we start in January, we have the back to school. In February, we have Valentine's Day. In March, we have the Easter. April, we have Independence Day. May, we have Mother's Day. June, we have Father's Day, and so on and so forth. It will go on. The calendar goes until we have a Bride Day, and we have a Women's Day, and we have so many other days that actually come about in this. And how many of these days, going right up to November, where you have your Black Friday, and December, as we all know, Christmas, and your New Year in January back. So there's so many issues, and how many of these issues have a commercial background to it, where people that are in the commercial fields go out and to find a way they can take a situation, take a day, take a date that is attached with someone, and find ways and means of making money out of that and involving the public to buy this. However, from an Islamic perspective, we do understand clearly that this is inciting and actually inviting of the opposite sex to one another, whereas the laws of Islam clearly prohibit the intermingling of sexes, particularly in issues when there is the aspect of mahram and ghair mahram. And the Quran draws our attention very clearly, as the verse I have recited to you at the beginning, قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ, O people of the book, لا تغلوا في دينكم غير الحق ولا تتبعوا أهواء قوم قد ضلوا من قبل وأضلوا كثيرا وضلوا عن سواء السبيل. Do not commit any excess in your religion unjustly. Do not go beyond your limits. Do not go beyond the prescribed aspects in your religion unjustly. And follow not the desires of the people who have already gone astray and caused others to go astray and have strayed away from the right path. This is a clear-cut warning. Also, Quran clearly says to us, لا تشتروا بآياتي ثمنا قليلا. Do not sell your religion for small pittance, for small sums of money. Many of this can be related to the amends of laws as they found it and as they did it. And as a result of all of this, we can truly establish the fact that there is no basis of this in any religion. There's no basis of this anywhere. Reality has it that this is a legend and there's a story about it, but there is no reality, not in Christianity, not in Islam, not in any other religion. However, this in today's day and age is termed as a commercial venture and is a commercial aspect totally. Again, from an Islamic perspective, the intermingling freely between the opposite sexes, particularly when it comes to the issue of mahram and ghair mahram, one should steer very, very clear from this, and we should not adopt the principles, the illicit principles that are outside in the open, where we find people are adopting these kind of situations and scenarios, and we as parents seriously need to be vigilant that what sort of cards and what sort of heart-shaped things are being sent to our homes, so that we can ward this off and we can root this evil out that is coming, particularly when it's this issue regarding the social media, that we have messages coming in. It is very, very clear that we need to put an end to these kind of messages, so that we don't find this creeping into our society and into our communities. May Allah save us, may Allah protect us, may Allah save our children, may Allah save our boys, may Allah save our young girls, and may they not fall in the trap of this Valentine's Day celebrations, which is an invite which has no basis whatsoever from an Islamic perspective. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh. कितना हसीनो दिलरुबा दारुल उलूम प्रिटोरिया है मरकज़े इल्मे खुदा दारुल उलूम प्रिटोरिया 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 अर्शे बरी पर आफ़ताब तारों में मिसले माहताब कुछ इस तरह लगने लगा दारुल उलूम प्रिटोरिया दारुल